went from having nothing to talk about today to having a lot of things to talk about. The sky is falling today in Yankee land because Trent Grisham, he just made his decision for free agency, and Yankees fans are not happy with it because it's an expensive decision. The Cubs? Yeah, we have an update on the Cubs and Shota Imanaga, of all people. I thought that he was leaving. Nope. We also have updates on Gleyber Torres, Brandon Woodruff. Just a big fat update video for you guys today. It's going to be awesome. Also, I just have to note these deals that we're going to talk about today are a little scary. We might have a lockout in 2027. I am afraid. So before we get into the bigger news, the meat and potatoes of today's video, I did want to give you guys a few small updates. The final numbers for Josh Naylor is 5 years, $92.5 million. Mariners fans are very pleased with that number, but the biggest reason why I bring this up, while I'm updating you guys on Josh Naylor, there's another update about Josh. Allegedly, reports are that the Pirates offered Josh Naylor almost $80 million, so there was still a big gap between their offer and the Mariners' offer. But just the idea that the Pirates are attempting to sign a free agent of Josh Naylor's caliber and now pivoting. The reports are updating as we speak. The Pirates are allegedly pivoting to Kyle Schwarber. They know that Paul Skeens is going to enter arbitration a whole lot sooner because of the PPI incentives. That's just the thing that they constructed in the CBA to avoid teams from service time manipulating and giving teams an incentive to call up their top prospects. And one of those things was actually giving players service time. So because Paul Skeens already has 2 years of service time, he's going to be a free agent a whole lot sooner. And before free agency, you enter arbitration, and Paul Skeens is going to get $30+ million. So the Pirates are saying we should spend the money now before Paul gets way too expensive. So this could be an exciting offseason for Pirates fans. At least I'm crossing my fingers. I'm not trying to jinx anything. As a Guardians fan, trust me, I would never do that. Small market fans got to stick together. I'm even knocking on wood. Also, one more bit of small news. The Mets have officially cut bait with Frankie Montas. They have DFA'd the guy. We know that he wasn't even going to be playing with the Mets in 2026 because of that elbow injury. But for one season, not even one full season of Frankie Montas, who turned in a 6.4 ERA, they gave this guy $34 million to do that. One of the worst signings of the last half decade. And I had to update you guys. He wasn't going to play either way, but they don't even want him in the clubhouse. He's been sent to the Shadow Realm. And the final small update, this is going to take about 10 to 15 seconds. Tatsuya Imai has officially been posted, so that 45-day window starts today. He's disgusting, expecting him to sign for 150, 200, a lot of money. Speaking of a lot of money, Trent Grisham just got a lot of money from the Yankees. But before we talk about that, a former Yankee, Gleyber Torres, he's accepting the qualifying offer, so he is going back to the Tigers. Remember, Gleyber signed a one-year deal, and now he's going back on a $22 million qualifying offer. So there you go, Tigers fans. Something good already happened, unless you think that he's overpriced, then it's not good. You know who is 100% overpriced? Trent Grisham. This throws a wrench into the entire offseason plans that the Yankees had written down for themselves, because I'm almost positive that Trent Grisham was not going to be part of their future unless he was going to be signing for $15 to $17 million a year for the next 2 or 3 years. But he's coming in hot at $22 million for 2026 because he just accepted the qualifying offer. This is bad. When I say bad, I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm saying that a guy who is coming off a 34 home run campaign season, who had a 350 on base with a 125 OPS plus and an almost 4 WAR season, isn't even getting a multi-year contract. He's 20. He literally turned 29 years old on November 1st. He's still relatively young. We've seen players age a little bit more gracefully over the last decade with modern technology and health protocols just kind of updating with the time. The fact that Trent Grisham is going back to the Yankees on a one-year deal, there's no option for 2027, and that makes me think, is Trent Grisham trying to get as much money as physically possible now, just in case there's a work stoppage, a lockout in 2027, and salaries freeze? That was my biggest concern when I saw this, because there's no way that there wasn't a market for Trent Grisham, who was a top 3 to 5 outfielder in the market right now, a power bat outfielder who once upon a time played Gold Glove level defense. Maybe he can get back to that at just a ripe age of 29 years old. This has me worried a little bit, and now back to the Yankees, because again, this ruins a lot of their plans. By the way, sorry if I sound like Chicken Little, the sky's falling. It might not be that big of a deal. Maybe I'm just spiraling right now for no reason, but I might not have a job after this season. Back to Yankees fans feeling pretty annoyed. The biggest reason why is because there are rumors that Hal Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees, isn't trying to go over $260 million. I guess he's pretty much sick and tired of paying a bunch in luxury tax, so he's trying to kind of right the ship, redo his finances going into the lockout, and this Trent Grisham signing, again, it throws a wrench into it because it's a hefty signing. $22 million is a lot. What does that mean for re-signing Cody Bellinger, Luke Weaver, bringing in new guys? What about Jason Dominguez? Because I don't know what they're going to do with him now. You can't just flip Trent Grisham unless the Guardians or some power-hungry team is willing to take on some of that contract, and in return, the Yankees could send some cash and maybe a prospect. I have no idea, but again, if you're a Yankees fan, you are not happy with this. To probably also mention for some important context, I feel a little bit irresponsible for not mentioning already, but the Yankees did not have to give Trent Grisham a qualifying offer. I can almost imagine that they were basically betting that he was not going to take it. Instead, he's taking a flyer on himself and trying to come back. Or again, we're heading for a lockout and he wants as much money now as physically possible. Now, here's the thing. Gleyber Torres was not bad last year. Neither was Trent Grisham, and neither were Brandon Woodruff and Shota Imanaga. Two guys who, instead of going out there and testing free agency to try and get multi-year deals, are coming back to the same team they just left via the qualifying offer. So let me break that down one more time. Shota Imanaga, he could have gone to any team in Major League Baseball, but instead of testing free agency, he's accepting that $22 million from the Cubs and going back. Now, he did regress last year. He only had 117 strikeouts in 144 innings. He had a 3.7 ERA, but a 3.7 ERA is still very valuable in the game of baseball. Brandon Woodruff was a monster last year. 83 strikeouts in 64 innings with a 3.2 ERA, and this guy isn't some random slouch who popped off for 1 year. He's Brandon freaking Woodruff. I know this is scattered over a few seasons because he's been injured throughout, but since 2020, Brandon Woodruff has a 2.8 ERA in 93 starts with 649 strikeouts and 538 innings. You're telling me that there's not a team out there that would give him a multi-year contract or a 2-year contract or a 1-year contract with some opt-outs? It's scary. By the way, every big name and reputable reporter you can think of said if Brandon Woodruff went back on the qualifying offer that Freddie Peralta was almost guaranteed to get traded. So Brewers fans, I'm sorry, but prepare for the worst. Anyways, back to the whole Chicken Little, sky is falling, I might not have a job in 2027 because there's a lockout. One more name I have to mention. He wasn't involved in today's signings, but Shane Bieber. Even Jays fans were like, yo, Biebs, dab me up, homie. Thank you so much. You just saved us a bunch of money because, one, you're coming back at a discount, and two, you're not leaving to go join a potential contender and a threat for a whole lot more money and a multi-year deal. Thanks for just giving us another chance. That's another reason why Brandon Woodruff, Shane Bieber, all of these elite talents from last season aren't testing free agency. It could be as simple as, hey, it worked for Aaron Judge, it worked for Ohtani, it worked for all of the other guys who chose not to sign extensions and they had monster walk years. Cody Bellinger opted out, Bregman opted out, Pete Alonso opted out, so essentially they were on 1-year deals, and maybe these guys who are accepting the qualifying offer think that they're going to get a ton of money now, and then just like Bellinger and the other guys, opt out, not opt out per se, but just go test it next year if there even is a next year. And now for the Uno reverse card, we have a bunch of players not accepting the qualifying offer and choosing free agency instead. Bo Bichette, Kyle Schwarber, Kyle Tucker, Framber Valdez, Dylan Cease, Edwin Díaz, Ranger Suarez, Zach Gallen, and Michael King. So do all of those players rejecting the qualifying offer completely negate everything I've said that they're willing to test free agency? Or do you just think that they're better talents, so they have every right to go test free agency because they're more sought after, if that makes any sense? Additionally, if you're a little bit newer to baseball and you have no idea how free agency works, a qualifying offer is essentially a safety net for teams who lose superstar players. For example, Nick Swisher, he left the Yankees a few years ago. The Guardians, or the Indians at the time, had to give a compensatory pick to the Yankees. With that pick, the Yankees got Aaron frickin' Judge. So again, this is kind of a safety net. So for all of the players that we just mentioned that rejected their qualifying offer, the Hail Mary could be they pick up a superstar with that pick. There we have it. Another recap in the books. This was kind of a speed cap. I sprinted home to make this video because I honestly thought that it was too juicy to pass up on. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like because it really helps me out, especially you guys on TV. I know I forget too. I watch Outdoor Boys all the time, forget to leave a like. So just click a few buttons, leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Be safe.